some people believe that it is wrong to celebrate the death of Margaret Thatcher. And those people are basically split into two categories. The first category is Margaret Thatcher supporters, the people who believed in her policies and agreed with all the things that she did. And in terms of those people, they're just obviously as morally bankrupt and vile and disgusting, despicable as Margaret Thatcher was herself. And the second category of people is those who say that you should not mock the dead. That regardless of all the bad things that Margaret Thatcher did, at the end of the day, she still has a family, and you should not mock a dead person because it's cruel for her family to have to deal with people mocking a dead person. Those are the 2 points of view, right? Of the people who say that it's, wrong or immoral to celebrate the death of Margaret Thatcher. Right? First and foremost, to the people who say that you should not mock the dead because it's just flat out wrong. Where were you when people were celebrating the death of Saddam Hussein? Yeah, you didn't say nothing then. Where were you when people were celebrating the death of Gaddafi? You didn't say nothing then. Where were you when people were celebrating the death of Bin Laden? You didn't say nothing then. Where were you? All right? Where were you? You didn't say nothing. So don't come to me and say that it's wrong to celebrate the death of Thatcher. But yet you kept your mouth shut when all them other people died and people were celebrating. Yeah? People were celebrating the death of all them people. So if you say that celebrating dead people was straight out wrong, regardless of what the people had done, why were you not speaking up when those other people died and people were celebrating nationally, all up and down the country, celebrating in the newspapers, people rejoicing? Where were you when people were celebrating that? You didn't speak up then, did you? All right? Now, in terms of Margaret Thatcher's family and how, celebrating her death could impact on her family. Some people say, oh, how would you feel if someone was celebrating the death of your family member? If I had a family member that was as vile, wicked, and disgusting as Margaret Thatcher, I would disown them. Margaret Thatcher protected paedophiles in her cabinet. She protected Jimmy Savile. She destroyed the manufacturing industry in this country. She sold off half of the council housing. She sold off British Gas. She's the reason why there's no manufacturing industry in this country right now. She closed down all the coal mines. What are you talking about? This woman was disgusting. Yeah? If I had a family member that was responsible for making that many people homeless and unemployed, yeah, I would disown them. Jimmy Savile's family have disowned him. You know that. They destroyed his headstone. Because at the end of the day, right is right and wrong is wrong. What if you had a family member that you found out was a paedophile and they died and people mocked his death? Would you feel bad that they're mocking his death? No, you'd understand. Yeah? So don't come to me and try to tell me that you shouldn't mock the death, or of Margaret Thatcher, or how would I feel if someone was mocking my family member who just died? If my family member was a scumbag like Margaret Thatcher, then I'd be mocking her death as well. Are you mad? We have to have morals, people. If you don't have morals, then you're completely lost. Yeah? So to hell with Margaret Thatcher. If I knew where her grave was, I'd go and piss on it. Fuck Thatcher. Yeah? She was a vile, wicked woman. You understand what I'm telling you? Margaret Thatcher celebrated when she closed down the coal mines. She celebrated when she sent the boys in to the Falklands to kill people. She celebrated. The nation apparently celebrated. So it's okay to celebrate death then? Huh? When is it okay to celebrate death? When the government tells you it's okay? If you're getting your morals from the government, you truly are a lost individual. Because the government are the most morally bankrupt people out there. These people have got no morals, they're all hypocrites. Half of them are pedophiles. You're talking about at least half of the top level of government are pedophiles. I'm not saying that all MPs and all members of parliament are pedophiles. No, definitely not. Right? At the low levels and at the mid levels of government in terms of MPs and people like that, there's a lot of well-meaning people. But at the very high echelons of government, right, the people who really call the shots and pull the strings, there's enough pedophiles. Do you understand what I'm telling you? These people don't think twice about sending planes to go bomb people and kill innocent people, men, women and children, civilians. They don't think twice. Full of murderers and pedophiles and all them kind of people there in government. And you get your morals from them? When they say it's okay to celebrate the death of someone, then you say, oh yeah, it's okay because the government say it's okay. The BBC News say it's okay. Is that what you're getting? Are you that dumb? Are you that much of a sheep that you have to wait to get your morals from the government? The government is a bunch of gangsters. You want to get your morals from the government? What kind of idiot are you? Flipping hell. Right? The government are a bunch of hypocrites. How the hell can you get your morals from them? Flip it. I can't take it. I can't take the stupidity of some people out here. See, here's my stance on celebrating the death of a dead person. If the person was a vile, evil, wicked person, there's nothing wrong with celebrating the death of them. If the person was a normal person or a good person or whatever, then yeah, you should not celebrate their death. If they've never abused anyone, right, killed no innocent people, destroyed people's lives or taken away people's, liberties, taken away millions of jobs, if they ain't done none of that, then hell no, you shouldn't celebrate their death. But if they're a vile scumbag witch like Margaret Thatcher was, then yes, you should celebrate their death. So like I said, you can't jump from one side of the fence to the other when it suits you. Yeah? If you say it's wrong to celebrate the death of anyone, where were you when the nation celebrated the death of Bin Laden or the death of Saddam Hussein or the death of Gaddafi? Where were you? Don't talk to me. Don't be a hypocrite. I'm tired of this shit. All right? Now, Margaret Thatcher. Some people saying that she done well for this country and all this kind of... Margaret Thatcher, right? You people just suck in all this propaganda and all this garbage. I can't take it. The way you suck in all this garbage propaganda through the news. Don't watch the news, people. I don't own a TV no more. That's one thing I can tell you right now. I've sold my TV about 5 years ago. Because the TV full of rubbish. It's full of propaganda. The newspapers are full of propaganda. Don't read the newspapers. The mainstream newspapers anyway. Because they're full of rubbish. It's all propaganda. It's all designed to brainwash you to have a certain opinion and a certain point of view which is acceptable to the government. They say that we live in a free society, but this is a society where you can go to prison or you can lose your job for expressing an opinion that the government don't agree with. Right? Just recently, I think this week, a policeman come out and he tweeted that he was happy Margaret Thatcher died or words to that effect. This guy has even been fired or he's been under so much pressure that he's had to leave his job. A while ago, some police officers was killed, and some guy wore a T-shirt, mocking the dead police officers. Now, I'm not agreeing with what he did. I didn't know those police officers personally to know what kind of people they was, but I'm not agreeing with what he did. Do you understand what I'm saying? But the fact is, he mocked the death of those police officers, and this guy, I think he went to prison. But if you mock the death of Bin Laden, it's fine. If you mock the death of Saddam Hussein, it's fine. If you mock the death of Gaddafi, it's fine. And I'm not a supporter of any of those people. Yeah? I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. We don't live in a free society. Our liberties are being taken away by the week and by the day. Right? Within 10, 15 years, You literally won't be able to say anything that the government don't agree with without ending up in prison or fines or, God knows what. It will be just like Nazi Germany. It will be just like a lot of these dictatorships that we see around the world that we point fingers at and say, oh, look at that evil dictator over there. Yeah, well, this country is turning into a dictatorship under the guise of a democracy. But a democracy is a hypocrisy and it's ridiculous. It's a fallacy. It's garbage. There's no democracy here. All these people, Labour and Conservative, they all go to school in the same places. They all come from the same families. All right? They all grow up with the same ideology. This democracy is a facade just to give us the illusion of choice. The people who really run the country are not in parliament. They're just the errand boys who carry out the deeds for the people who really run the show, who are the big corporations, the banks, all them kind of people. You should know who really runs the country because the banks are the ones who caused the financial crisis, but yet they're the ones who get bailed out. We don't get bailed out. People that are losing their homes, people that have lost their jobs because companies are closed down, they don't get bailed out. Oh, but the banks get bailed out. The ones who caused the crisis get. That should show you who really runs the country. Right? In other countries like Cyprus, they didn't bail the banks out. And now, sorry, not Cyprus, Iceland. Yeah? In other countries like Iceland, they didn't bail the banks out. And now Iceland's economy is thriving. Yeah? The banks, the big corporations, the oil companies, they are more powerful than the government and they control the government. Yeah? And Margaret Thatcher helped to create the situation that we're in now. She amongst all prime ministers over the last, 20, 30 years, she was the one who did more damage to our society than anyone else. Yeah? Margaret Thatcher. People saying that she was a great... How the hell can you say she was a great person? Great for what? She was great for the ruling elite, but she was terrible for the rest of us. And there are some people saying that you shouldn't celebrate the death of Margaret Thatcher if you're in your 20s. Now, I'm not in my 20s, right? I'm much older than that, yeah? But if people are in their 20s and they're a student, why shouldn't they celebrate the death of Thatcher? Because we're still living with the legacy of what Margaret Thatcher did to this country. She destroyed the manufacturing industry. So there's less jobs now than ever. Less real jobs. Right? Back then, you could go into manufacturing. You could learn a trade. You could learn how to build stuff. You could learn how to mine coal. You could learn how to make steel. You could learn how to do physical things, practical things. Now our manufacturing industry is gone. What can people do? Flip burgers in McDonald's, answer the phones in the call center, work for some big corporation which you will never own a piece of. She disenfranchised and disempowered people. My goodness. Margaret Thatcher, this scumbag, this witch of a woman.